Okay, I think we should be live. Let's verify that. Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, if you can hear us and see us, please put something in the comment. And I'll be checking over here too. Yeah, I think it's working. Okay, yeah, it's working. I just wanted to make sure, and let me see how many viewers we got. Probably give them a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we have, I think, 2 viewers right now. I'm trying to see if I can see on here. So let's get one more minute. Oh, I see the viewers right there. It's a little confused where I can see them. Okay. So I'm going to give them a couple seconds and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. And I see somebody already liked it. So that means it's working.
That might have been me.
Oh,
I just
you're
shared
looking
it.
at it too.
Yeah, yeah. I opened it on my phone and shared it to my page.
Yeah. Okay, good. Then we can go ahead and start.
Okay.
And then hopefully it records and then we can post it. But I just wanted to say good afternoon to everyone who has joined the live section today. We have Shekinah, and who will be sharing some tips on how to unwind and distress before the holidays. So, good afternoon, and it's great to have you join the live today. And we can't wait to hear all your tips and tricks that you have before the holidays. So, I want to go ahead and let you have the screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. So I am Shekinah. I am a therapist here in Birmingham, Alabama. I operate out of two spaces, or a couple spaces, but the main thing is me doing practice through Purpose Joy. If you want to see anything about what we do and things like that, you can go to purposejoy.org and visit us that way. We have a YouTube series, lives, things like that. All things to help you manage your mental health via self care. So let's get started. So I was so excited about this conversation because I think we don't take into consideration all the different factors that play a part with how we show up during the holidays, right? So one of the biggest things that we don't think about is how this is sad season. So seasonal affective disorder is this thing that happens every right. She's already put her wreath on the door ready. Um, so it's like we don't realize though how like there's a lot of other things that interact with us or like are impacting how we're showing up and how we're feeling, right? So one of the main thing is sad season. So seasonal affective disorder is basically when as the season changes, your mood changes. We don't have the sun as much. Okay, daylight savings time is coming. And so that vitamin D impacts our mood. It's colder, that impacts our mood. All these different things play a part in how we're showing up mood wise and how that can impact how we engage in the season. Another thing that we want to pay attention to is just like the financial strain and stress that comes from being on top of it when it comes down to our like holiday season. So no matter if it's you having to buy gifts or presents for people or being the house that everybody comes to or you having to prepare that special banana pudding that you make every year, whatever it is, there's another level of expectations and stress that comes with this time of year. So what I want to do for you is I want to have a conversation today. Again, this is really interactive. I can see the comments. So if you have a question or something like that, post in the comment and we'll be able to respond. Okay. But yeah, we want to make sure that today we kind of take a step back, take some inventory, bring some awareness, set some true boundaries for ourselves learn ways to communicate, and then get into a place of acceptance so that we can navigate not just the financial burden of the season or the festivities of the season, but really the emotional and mental wellness that we need to manage this season as well. So my first and most important thing, and the thing I talk about all the time, is self-care. Okay, self-care as it relates to you, and self-care is more than a spa day and get my nails done, having some mimosas, or taking a break after this holiday season is over. Self-care is doing true inventory with yourself, checking in. What do I need? What do I not need? What's working for me? What's working against me? What are the things that made me feel uncomfortable last year that I need to make an adjustment for this year? So self-care, the biggest thing I want you guys to remember, the first thing I want you to remember, if you have a pen and paper, write this down, but take inventory. This is the perfect time. It's right before we start to rush into the season changes and things like that. Taking inventory, checking in with ourselves. Right. Expectations can really cause stress during the holiday season, right? Those expectations are intense, and they can make it hard for us to manage how we show up. So being able to take inventory first, what were the things that caused me stress last year and was really impactful for me last year that I can start to navigate this year, right? So that can look like things like, okay, did I wait too long to go and get my groceries? Maybe I need to see if I can do my grocery list earlier. Where my cousin that came over, were they like kind of getting on my nerves? Was my social battery a little low? Did I need to have did I need to drive my own car to the destination so I could leave when I get ready? Was it the stress of what people were asking for? Do I need to set some boundaries around that? Really taking inventory. And when we think about this time of year too, for a lot of us, if we've lost a loved one in this holiday season, this is a time when all those feelings come back up. Remembering the person that's missing from the table, remembering the person that's not here, right? So we have to take inventory even of that. What might be a little bit more difficult for me this year, and how can I check in with myself and prepare for what the next thing is, right? So like when we're talking about things like wanting to make sure that, if I need to let somebody else know, a family member know, like, hey, this season might be a little bit rough for me. Could you check in with me before and after we gather together as a family? Or making sure that if you have a therapist, I do encourage you to get one, but if you don't have a therapist, find a therapist. And if you do have one, check in with your therapist. Like, let them know, like, hey, this time of year is a little bit rough for me because of A, B, and C. Just to make sure that you're as proactive as possible so people can know how to support you, right? So the first and most important part, guys, again, taking inventory. What worked last year? What didn't work last year? What I need to make sure I do again this year, right? Taking inventory of the things that you need. No one else is going to know about you but you, right? No one else is going to know what you need unless you check in with yourself first. So taking inventory is step number one. Self-care via inventory is step number one. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, so the next thing we want to think about is awareness. So once we take that inventory, we need to be aware. If I identified that I was over here at my auntie house like for 2 extra hours that I wanted to be, no. All right, let's see what I need to do. I need to make sure that I let somebody know, like drive my own car. I need to let somebody know. I need to set up in place like what time I'm going to get there, what time I'm going to leave. Do whatever I need to do to protect myself in that way. Also, if we know that, I feel a little guilty about having to make all these things, or I need some extra help with cooking these different things, or I need some extra help with getting gifts this year, whatever that is, check in with yourself, get aware, and then make sure that once you're aware of that, you do different things that need to be necessary to protect yourself in that way. If you have a friend or a relative or something like that you don't really get along with, you're kind of like anxiously awaiting having to be in the same room with them, be aware of that. Maybe you need to limit your conversations. Maybe you need to make sure that you're talking to somebody before you go to this event so you're not blowing up on people at the dinner table, right? Making sure that you are as aware as possible of what those things are, that, okay, I did some inventory and now I'm really aware. I need to make a pivot here. I need to make a pivot there. And then the other thing about awareness is that once we get that awareness in place, share with the next person, your close friend, your favorite cousin, or your partner, or your whoever it is that you feel like you can really talk to and have this conversation with, your girlfriends, your friends, or whichever. Talk to them about what it is that you are a little concerned about this holiday season, and let them know what's up. So then when you look across the room or you talk to somebody, like, they have an understanding of what they can do to support you. They have an understanding of what you need, right? It's all about, once you take that inventory, getting that awareness and communicating that stuff with other people. We'll get to communication in a second, but this is the perfect way to do it. If you're aware that this is something that's going to make me feel uncomfortable, or this is going to rub me the wrong way, or this is going to, let me let me get in place. Let me get in order. The word of the day, guys, is proactive. We want to be as proactive as possible. Okay. So awareness is the only way we can get to that place. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is boundaries. So we talked about self-care, inventory, awareness, and now we're at boundaries. Boundaries. Now we see this on social media all the time, and we see people talk about this all the time. But y'all, boundaries are more powerful than we realize. Boundaries aren't just for you, right? Or for the other person so they can stay away from you or whatever, or so that you can establish some type of protection for yourself. The boundaries are really so that you can also show up at your best, right? Too often, the holiday season is also a representation of a lot of people pouring from an empty cup. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Too often, the holiday season is a representation of a lot of people pouring from an empty cup. They don't have enough time, but they try to make it work anyway. They don't have enough funds, but they try to make it work anyway. They really don't want to go, but they try to make it work anyway. And the issue is that we do these things and then we end up not being our best selves when we show up in these places. We want to make sure that we are identifying certain boundaries, certain things that we need to put in place for ourselves so that when we show up for other people, we are making sure that we're showing up as our best selves, right? We're not coming from a slideway empty cup. We're not coming from a place of like depletion. We're coming up for our best. And the way that we get there is by saying no, y'all. It's by saying no. It's by creating some boundaries. It's by putting some things in place for ourselves. Okay. When we're able to say no, that no turns into me being able to protect myself so that I can be that happy-go-lucky person that you love. So I can be the exciting person and the person that's loving and caring when we get into this place, when there's a whole bunch of us together and our family is together. I'm not irritated already because I had to stay up all night cooking this and had to go over here and get this and somebody didn't help me with this. No, I said no to these other areas so I can be fully present and I can be fully here with my friends and my family at my best, right? So I want us to, I want you guys to make sure that we're paying attention, paying attention to that part. We want to make sure that we're not pouring from empty cup. I see you a little, you're so funny, but we want to make sure that we're not pouring from an empty cup, okay? So that's that part. So let's go again. We got inventory, we got awareness, we got boundaries, right? Now, here is the part that I think we all struggle with just a little bit, right? We'll say that we don't fool with this person. We're not going to do this, but we don't tell anybody anything. We harbor these things that happened like two Thanksgivings ago, two Christmases ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And every time we just show up in the place, we're like, I don't fool with them. I don't want to talk to them. All that kind of stuff. Y'all, communication is key. Communication. Once you did that inventory, you got that awareness, you figure out some boundaries for yourself, right? Communicate them as effectively as possible. And one of my favorite ways to do this is with the sandwich method, right? So it's really, I first learned about this in retail, but it works in a lot of different ways. So I'm gonna share it again, right? So, right, she knows what she did, right? So like the idea of full communication looks like this. So first, it's like the sandwich method. You start with like something positive, right? So you say, I really enjoy being able to see you in this season and stuff like that, and being able to be in this place. But when you say certain things about how I dress, or when you talk about my dressing, or you talk about how I made that macaroni and cheese, it really made me feel away. I really want to continue to show up and things like that, but I want to have a conversation about how we can try to be better or treat each other with respect. Now that's a very surface level. I'm sure y'all aren't getting into it with family members about dressing, right? But when we think about real hard conversations, with the exception, of course, of some very negative experiences like abuse or anything like that, that's not what I'm talking about. But when we're talking about those surface level altercations that we have with family members, or those things that really hurt us and people don't know that they hurt us, we miss the opportunity to develop true and pure relationships with our family and friends because we're not being authentic with them, because we're not communicating our needs and communicating with them what hurt, right? So we have to be able to, right, just is a serious matter, but we have to be able to communicate with them exactly what it is that is bothering us. We have to be able to share that with them. Like, I understand you feel away about my dressing, but listen, I try my best. You say maybe I can't make it like mom and them used to make it, but I try, right? So it hurts my feelings that you say that. But communicating that will help somebody else to be able to manage how they show up for you a little bit better. Like, I think that when we're talking about, especially in certain cultures, this time of year is the only time of year where we even get to see each other, right? We rip and run all year long, and this is the time when we finally get to sit down. So please, Seiji. So please be able to like take that time and tap in with your family and friends, and don't let a negative experience or like a part of like having an issue with communicating with your family members or your friends interrupt the opportunity to just be with your people. You see what I'm saying? So communicate what's going on. Let them know, I don't like that. That feels a little uncomfortable. Or I don't like when you say that. Or I don't like when you do this. So that they can start to show up for you in a way, and that relationship can start to develop in a way that's beneficial for you both, right? So we got inventory, we got awareness, we got boundaries, we got communication. All right, now this part is a part that underneath communication, this is the part that I think that we also struggle with a lot. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because this is the part where we realize that we don't have control over stuff, and it's acceptance. Acceptance. When we get into this holiday season and we're talking about managing stress, sometimes we have to get into a place of acceptance, of realizing what we literally can and cannot control. I know. It's hard to do that. I can make this happen. I can make that happen. I can make all these things happen. But no, that's not really the right. Oh my, right. It's not really the reality. You really don't. You have to. Let me tell y'all what my therapist told me. And it was the best thing in the world. So I'm going to share it with you anyway. All right. So basically, she told me we have to hold all things with the open hands, right? Open hands. Open hands mean like we support the thing, but we let it come and go as it pleases. We're not trying to take complete control of it. We're not trying to operate it, and we're not trying to mold it into what we want it to be. We just hold these situations with open hand. Family, friends, holiday season, what people's thoughts, opinions, how they show up, what they decide to wear, who didn't cook, who did bring, who showed up, didn't show up. All that stuff is completely out of control. And you have to get to a point of acceptance, because acceptance is going to be the thing that helps you be more free in that space. Think about this. Like when you go into these social settings and when you get ready to get into this time of year, right? Yikes is right. Big yikes, right? When we go into these social settings and we get into this time of year, we get really overwhelmed, right? We got this thing going on, this thing over here going on, all this stuff. And it could be like where we're trying to make something happen. But imagine if you just say, you know what? My job is to just be. My job is to just be here with my family and my friends and people I care about, right? That's my job right now. My job is to just be. And when you get into that place of like freedom, that there you go. Yeah, when you get into that place of freedom, you're not worried about this, that, and the third. You just enjoying it. It's okay if the dresser was a little stagey. It's okay if cousin them keep looking at you weird. It don't even matter. That's out of my control, right? Bringing ourselves back to a place of acceptance of the things that we literally cannot change and don't have any control over gives us the opportunity to really show up fully as our best selves when it comes to this time of year. So those were like my main points, right? So just to recap and stuff like that, so we can have it all in one nice little bundle, nice little bow. All right, so we want to start with our self-care process. Get ready for this year. We got plenty of time. It's only November 2nd. We got time to do this, right? So take some inventory. What do you need? What was working for you? What wasn't working for you? Like what makes you feel away? What do you think is something that might be a problem for you in this coming year, right? Is it time management? Is it taking a break? Is it feeling stressed out? Is it feeling like you're doing stuff by yourself? Like, what is it? Like, I just need to, if you could title it, or you can make even a complete sentence or finish the sentence like, last holiday season, I felt blank because blank. And that can help you be able to, that's where you can start with being able to understand what it was that you were feeling and why, right? The next place is awareness. Once I identify what that thing is, like, let's get some awareness about the thing. So if I know that I feel overwhelmed when this happened, like, so how can I make sure that this doesn't happen again? Or how can I put some parameters in place to protect myself in that way, right? So that's the next place of awareness. Then from there, we get to boundaries. All right, boom. I see that this was a problem for me last year. How can I make sure I implement some boundaries? They might even not even know that this was a thing that made me feel overwhelmed, but I'm going to just have to learn how to say no in some spaces. How can I protect myself in that way? How can I say no to this place so that I can really show up the way I need to, right? So that's another part over there. That's our making sure that we put those the unsolicited. It's important. So how can we make sure we set those boundaries? Say no when we need to, right? Then the next part, when we get done with that part, once we got those boundaries in place, we say no. Communication. Let people know what the issue was. Don't walk around stone cold face, not saying nothing. We're not doing that. Like, let's release. Let's communicate what's going on. Let the people know what's up, so we can get to a better place and a better foundation in that way. Okay. So communicate what's going on. And the last place is acceptance. The best part of it all is acceptance. letting yourself be, letting yourself get loved on, get the freedom that you need. All right. Get to a place of like realize, you know what, this is not, I'm gonna hold this with an open hand. This is not what and I don't have any control over it, so I'm gonna just let it be, right? And in this place, I hope that you get an opportunity to be free, loved on, cared for, supported, encouraged, get to eat good, feel good, all this stuff during this season. And don't forget to like, again, I'm gonna say this again because I think it's the most important part. That inventory piece is the first thing I said because it's the most important thing. We don't know what's going on with us unless we check in with ourselves. You're gonna have to make some time before it all gets hectic, daily, weekly. If you can't do that, whatever the case may be, check in with yourself. If you have a therapist, go check in with your therapist. Do those things so we can really see what's going on and make sure that you're checking in with where your meter is. Where's my baseline? What does that look like so I can do what I need to do to show up the way I need to for this holiday season and for myself and make it the most memorable one yet. Yeah. But that's all I had. If you guys have any questions, I think there was an opportunity for people to ask questions if you had them. But yes, it's awesome to start implementing. Please do today. Start today. Start today. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Great tips, information. I learned a lot.
Awesome.
Acceptance is freedom. So
Yeah.
I really, really love that. And I just want to, take some time and see somebody has any questions right now. Let's see. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't think I see any questions.
Okay.
So, oh, she preached. She sure did. She sure did.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Kaina, for that great, again, tips and information. I see that we don't have any questions at this moment. I see great info. But whoever is watching the recording, please write down in the comments if you have any questions. And with that said, have a great day, everyone. And thank you again, Shekinah, for taking your time and joining us today and preaching. So again, thank you so much, and everybody, have a great day.
I love that. Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Bye.